Hello all and welcome back. I hope you're doing really well. Thank you again for the love and support on yesterday's video. Fantastic seeing you guys liking, commenting and sort of talking about the video. It's fantastic and what drives me forward to continue creating this content for you guys. That being said, if you're not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed. There is so much coming in the next few weeks, maybe even months for the Hedera ecosystem. You guys do not want to miss out on some of the opportunities that I will be putting across on this channel. There's, like I said before, there's tons of different projects that are launching, and there is potential for a lot of you to get in early into those projects. Naturally, some of them are risky. However, after doing some of your own research, you may choose to make that decision to enter some of these platforms and new ecosystems that are being developed, and you could be rewarded quite nicely from that. Like I said, no financial advice on this channel, just giving you guys the heads up on what's happening within the crypto world and the Hedera ecosystem. That being said, today is looking much better for the markets in general. Looking at the crypto bubbles, we can see nearly everything is green on the daily now. Some projects have rebounded very nicely. Obviously spoken about Rune several times on the channel, 16% in a day, which is absolutely fantastic to see. So any of you that bought some of that would be nicely up right now. 5.2% up on XLM or Stellar as well, another project that I hold very dear, has massive potential into the future. 3.1% on Quant, still a sleeping giant. I'm still averaging into that position. Hbar up nearly 6% as well, as we're trying to reclaim that 20-cent level. I'm still buying up as much of that as I possibly can at the moment, probably to my detriment, as some other great crypto projects are at a discount, for example, Quant. However, I feel personally it's very important for me to make sure my HBAR bags are as big as they possibly can be going into what could be said as the next phase for Hedera as DeFi, dApps, the whole ecosystem rolls out, something that I've been drilling into these videos for weeks now, as I believe we're getting very, very close to something major happening within the ecosystem and network in general. So much potential and so much opportunity is coming this way. Engine as well, up another 8%, and obviously XRP, which I mentioned in the last couple of videos, I'm beginning to build that position back up. I've always had a position in XRP, I think since roughly 2016. This is a long-term position that I've been in, and hopefully we'll start seeing some movement based on the information or the case effectively between them and the SEC. Talking about Hedera in general, obviously SAUCERSWAP shouldn't be new to any of you guys that watch these videos regularly. Obviously there is a video on my channel showing you guys how to pick up an Epoch collectible set, the perks and benefits, etc. of owning these NFTs. But that being said, there's only 87 strong nuclear NFTs remaining out of the 1,000. Naturally, this means there's only 87 sets that can be completed. So if you guys are interested in picking up a complete set to get those airdrop and source multipliers, there aren't very many left now, less than 1/10, 8.7% left sets wise for you guys to complete. So if you've been sitting on the fence and you've been looking to do it, might be worth considering a little bit harder as to whether you want to do it, as there aren't very many left. Once these are gone, they're gone. They will not be coming back. Fair warning. DeFi project BEANSTALK has just lost $182 million in a flash loan attack. The hackers got away with $80 million and donated $250,000 to Ukraine. Stable token Bean fell about 75% from the $1 peg that it was sat against. Ethereum-based stablecoin protocol suffered a total loss of around $182 million, and the attacker managed to get away with that aforementioned $80 million, according to the blockchain firm PeckShield, which had flagged the incident on Twitter. Now, I just kind of wanted to throw this in here just to say, make sure you guys, if you have got wallets, whether it be Hashpack wallets, MetaMask wallets, either on the Ethereum or Binance Smart Chains or even Polygon, any dApps that you interact with and stake via or liquidity pools that you enter, please, please, please make sure that they have been audited, they're secure, and they're somewhat mainstream. There are plenty of these projects, for example, on the Binance Smart Chain, where they offer massive, crazy APY yields. If you don't particularly understand the project, I'd say stay well clear of said project, because likely a lot of the time there's something at risk with those platforms. Either they're a sort of a rug pull project in general, and they're quite inherently risky, or because they're a smaller project, their security isn't quite up to standard compared to a lot of these bigger decentralized applications and DeFi ecosystems, and therefore are more likely to be attacked by these third parties. So if this is just a warning, just to make sure that you guys are very careful what you're doing. Unfortunately, the crypto space in general is riddled with scams. and issues like this and vulnerabilities. So making sure that you're putting your money into a safe space is seriously important, and it's something that I urge you all to consider. Like I said previously, I applaud a lot of the skeptical people about Stader, for example, and hopefully I've demystified Stader and maybe helped you understand some of the risks involved with that platform. They are almost zero in comparison to some of these decentralized applications that we see. And it's really important to understand the differences between them and what you're actually doing before you do it. So this is more of a PSA, a public safety announcement. Just make sure you know what you're doing when you're interacting with these different platforms, and you fully understand the risks, because there's potential that you lose everything and you get wiped out. That being said as well, I wanted to turn around and say, never, ever, ever, doesn't matter what platform you go to, and if it looks legit, you never put your seed phrase into any of the platforms at all whatsoever, period. If it asks for a seed phrase, it's a scam platform and you need to get off of it immediately. Also, that being said, if you believe your wallet has been compromised, I think the best thing to probably do is to create another wallet and send and transfer all of your assets to the new wallet with a new seed phrase, and then disregard the old wallet. Don't use it again. Don't log into it. Don't put any information into it or cryptos. Staying safe is very important. Moving on, talking about Ripple, so XRP. Interesting tweet here from the XRP whale. I almost covered this the other day, decided not to, but then I thought I'll cover it anyway. There have been some reports that Ripple are currently in a settlement talk with the SEC. So for XRP holders, victory would appear to be in sight. This is something that I'd alluded to a few times. Unfortunately, there's zero source that comes from this Twitter account. So it seems very unlikely. And we can see the reply here saying the SEC has literally just asked for an extension so they can object. Nothing happens until they get a ruling on the objection. Then maybe the appeals, but I think the appeals are less likely. They definitely will try the objection route. So this, I'm just putting this in this video to show to you guys that, don't believe everything you kind of read on the internet immediately, especially if there's no sources to back the information that's being said. There's lots of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, as well as FOMO. FOMO on the opposite side, both are just as dangerous as one another. One will drive you away from top quality projects, and the other will drive you into poor projects or make poor decisions based on what you think is the norm via what's being said on social media. I openly urge you as well, if I say anything in a video and you're uncertain or you don't know where my information's come from, challenge it, challenge everyone. At the end of the day, it's your money, and safety is important in terms of what you're doing with these assets, as well as investing in these projects. Like I said, there's obviously never any financial advice on this channel, but there's plenty of information for you guys to hopefully stimulate those thought processes. Flicking over as well, from the Watchers Twitter account, the metaverse startup Sandbox is reportedly raising $400 million at a $4 billion US valuation. So this is absolutely massive. So effectively, they've gone across to some venture capitalists or investment sort of funds and asked for a $400 million US loan effectively for some funds. And as a result of that, their company or project has been valued at $4 billion US. This makes it larger than sort of many companies that are namestay brands, and just goes to show how big the metaverse is and how much capital and how many investors are willing to pour money into these metaverse projects and startups as they believe it's the future. What you guys need to sit back and think is, you'd never have any of these hedge funds or pensions, ETFs, etc., entering the crypto space with billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars if they didn't see potential in the future. They know that it's risky, but at the same time, the reward is absolutely massive. That being said, obviously, you still need to stay safe with what you're investing in. But we are so early to this. The fact that you're seeing these headlines of something trying to raise $400 million is crazy. You'd never see a company come out and say they're trying to raise $400 million if it was a startup, for example, unless it was something very major. So this is a sort of another milestone. The writing is on the wall, as I've said in previous videos, that crypto is definitely here to stay for the long term. Talking about Stader and HBARX, I've seen a few comments in the video descriptions or down beneath the video, asking about whether you can move HBARX once you've minted the tokens on Stader via staking to a hardware wallet. Someone here on Reddit, very sort of reputable guy, Jeep Top Down, he's posted lots of different stuff on the Hedera subreddit, has said that you can actually store HBARX on a decent hardware wallet because it supports HTS, or the Hedera token service, reported on Stader's Telegram page by a user there. This is not something that I've actually tried and not something that I'm sort of willing to try just yet. But if you guys want to give this a go with a small amount of HBARX, apparently it is possible to do it with a decent hardware wallet. Doesn't appear to mention anything about ledgers just yet. Talking about what I said in yesterday's video about spot ETFs, we then come across some breaking news that the first Bitcoin spot ETF in Australia will list next week. This is absolutely ridiculous for the cryptocurrency markets. I think this is going to be a domino effect now that we're going to see. So the first domino has fallen in Australasia or Australia as a country. I think we'll begin to see this roll out, particularly if the adoption of this ETF in Australia is massive. Don't forget, you don't just have to be an Australian citizen, for example, to access the Australian exchanges. There'll be many investors around the globe picking up this spot ETF as either a hedge against inflation, because Bitcoin is a great hedge against inflation, or as a massive investment opportunity. That being said, the core function of a spot ETF effectively means that any money that's invested in purchasing the ETF forces the fund that manages the ETF to purchase Bitcoin. Now, what this is going to do is, as more volume enters this spot ETF, some of those funds have to be used to go and purchase the underlying asset, i.e. Bitcoins. So this is an indirect route to pour potentially millions upon billions of additional equity into the crypto markets. So over the coming weeks, depending on the adoption of this, you may see a massive pickup in the total market cap of the crypto markets, and Bitcoin's price may begin to surge once again. And ironically, this is happening in quite a roundabout way, as I've been saying that the sort of next super cycle that we're probably going to see is around May to June, and everything is seeming to be lining up with that. It's almost like it's pre-programmed to line up with that kind of date range of, say, May to June sort of time. So lots happening here. Watch this space, most definitely. Seriously bullish for the markets in general. Flipping back over to sort of Hedera, great tweet over here by Parabolic. Hbar was also featured on the subreddit, but it's talking about HIP-410. So as I mentioned before, HIPs are Hedera Improvement Proposals. And the idea being is that apps can send Ethereum transactions to MetaMask, sign, wrap it in a HBAR transaction, and submit to the hash graph to execute. This will make it 10,000 times easier for Ethereum devs to build on Hedera. So if we actually flick over and have a quick look at this Hedera Improvement Proposal, one of the sort of key features that they're talking about here is being a Web3 developer, you create a web application that currently works and is native to Ethereum. In the application, they want to create transactions, send them to a browser wallet such as Brave, MetaMask, whatever it may be, for the user to sign that smart contract. But they want to use the Hedera JS SDK instead of Ethereum. If this happens, they are then able to sign those transactions and submit it to the Hedera network for execution instead of Ethereum. This would then mean that Hedera could become an execution layer effectively for all of the transactions on Ethereum. So instead of paying those crazy high Ethereum gas fees, you could still use the Ethereum main chain, but all of the transactions and smart contract signings will be routed through Hedera. This would drive a serious amount of volume for HBAR, because don't forget, all of those HBAR Hedera transactions are paid in HBAR, and this would be seriously beneficial for Hedera in general as being a cross-chain agnostic solution for the scalability, flexibility, security, and execution times, as well as low fees that a lot of these chains are missing. So we can see here the idea being the Web3 app effectively creates a raw ETH transaction that's sent to some kind of wallet. Here they're talking about MetaMask. The signed ETH transaction is then being retrieved by the Web3. That's then the application that's then wrapped and sent across to Happy, so with Ethereum transaction body, and then it's being handled and executed by Hedera. So you would avoid all of those Ethereum transaction fees and hurdles with the current system of a proof of work system, particularly because we keep seeing the Ethereum proof of stake transition getting pushed back. This would be a serious exploding point effectively for Hedera and its use cases. Seriously bullish, and it's something that I'll be keeping my eye on. This HIP-410 proposal could be massive for Hedera and really spark what we're all looking for in terms of potential for the project. Great tweet as well by Lemonade over on Twitter that I wanted to talk about. The longer the consolidation, the more powerful the breakout. Obviously, this is in reference to Hedera hash graph, and it's looking at the peak to trough before the next peak effectively takes place. What we can see here is it appears to follow a pattern against Bitcoin. So what he's saying here is the 45-day to 60-day to 120 to 240, and we're currently 220 days into this cycle from the 140% peak from previous. So potentially in the next 20 to 30 days, maybe slightly longer, we will then see a massive breakout percentage. And what you also notice is the breakout percentages tend to sort of increase from the previous one. So we might see 100 to 200% breakout once this does happen. Again, what's funny is this ties up and lands straight in May. Like I said, this is when you're going to see the DeFi ecosystem explode in general. Lots of dApps, lots of DeFi, SAUCERSWAP potentially, Tangent Finance, Hedera Starter. They're all coming around the beginning of May, mid-May, end of May. This could line up with the Hbar, the Bitcoin cycle at the same time. So tons of potential here. And this is one of the main reasons that I'm continuing to average into that position. And I want to make it as big as I possibly can before we never revisit these prices again. Anyway, guys, that was it for today's video. Lots more coming this week. As I said, that talk with MetaStable will be on Friday. Hopefully I'll turn that video around within one day. Tons of stuff coming. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Drop a like if you've got something to say. Leave a comment as well. Or sorry, drop a like if you like the video. Drop a comment if you've got something to say. Until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.